Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hungry Bleak Show. I am your host, Antonio Pomares, and look, let me tell you something right now. That's not what I had to tell you. Uh, Again, folks, we will have our time to talk and speak, and I'll review some comics. I'll talk to you about food, and we'll laugh and cry and chuckle, what have you. I do miss our one-on-one talks, but as you know, I don't want to say no to anyone who's coming through because I'm enjoying the conversations. I'm enjoying learning about comics that I may not know about, and I'm enjoying learning about people's process, new things they got coming up, and just the fact of this nice community that we've got going in indie comics is really cool, really great, awesome. You're learning stuff. I'm learning stuff. Um, it's just a nice everyone pouring into each other. It's nice reciprocation of energy, which is what I love. All right, cool. So we will talk, we will speak, but I've got cool people coming on and I want you to see them. I want you to hear them. I want you to see what they've got going on. Okay, that's the whole point of me being here. This is we started from the bottom. Now we're here. We're working on getting up there, but we're not at the bottom anymore. We're here, so we're getting there. There's levels to everything. There's levels, like measuring. There's levels all over the place. Anyway, so I have been getting a lot of referrals. Shout out to Keith Cross. I'm getting more referrals than doctor's office. I truthfully, and I'm like more than stunned and appreciative of each person who's been on, and for Keith as well. Y'all already know how. Excuse me. My goodness gracious, I need a new throat. I got to order a new throat through Amazon. I'm gonna get it probably within a couple of days because Amazon Prime. Yeah, Keith Cross is just diabolical with it, and he's someone who I hold in such high esteem with his art and his storytelling, and just him being a person. He's just a really cool being. So if he's got people that want to come through and talk, I'm definitely going to do it. I mean, why not? They're awesome. He's vouching for them. That's cool. So today, y'all know I love comics. I'm into indie comics. I try to be all over the scene, but there are lots of things that I don't see, I don't get to read because there's so much out there and I only have two eyes. But I got told about someone. It's cool. Look, sending them over. Great. Check it out. Be on the lookout for the message. Bet. Cool. Okay, I got you. So, a comic about the elements of hip hop. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I want to know what's going on with that. So, thank you, Keith Cross, for always putting somebody on to me. I love it. And putting me on to somebody, everything's cool. Why wouldn't you want to read a comic about hip hop? Also, hip hop is one of the most beautiful art forms out there. Art form and music both wrapped in the same thing. It's incredible. So yeah, I want to talk about this. I want to know about this comic because I want to read it. I want to check it out. But I love hearing the creators talk about it, and the passion and the heart that they have for it is amazing. So folks, without any further ado, I want to introduce you to our special guest, Yalim Little.
Hey,
How are you doing? How are you doing today?
appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you being here very much. I honestly, I appreciate it. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Like every day I wake up, I'm grateful to be on this planet. So I stay in that space and I'm really strong in that. So I'm great. Appreciate you.
No problem at all. So, look, I can think of maybe two comics that I've read that have really dealt with hip hop. The one that sticks out in my mind the most is Wu Tang's. Oh my God, what's the name of it? This was from Image. It was like maybe over 10 years, actually longer than that. I want to say it was Wu Tang Nine Rings. That might have been, but that might be the closest thing. So I see elements of hip hop that just automatically just makes me go, yeah, I want to check this out. But I want to know first off, how did you get into comics and what made you want to create your own comic?
Well, I mean, I'm a comic book head from I think that Generation X era. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way I can say the Generation X era, meaning, you know, X-Men, X Factor. Those were my some of the ones that just inspired me. I mean, I feel like I'm a part of the superhero generation. You know, we grew up, we didn't get so many. The movies and stuff are way more cool now because technology has caught up. But I mean, you know, from the Batmans to the Supermans, the first ones, you know, where the you know what I mean.
Reeves, yeah, man, yeah.
But it sparked imagination and inspiration. So that's And then of course reading was, I'm a reading rainbow son. You know, I grew up on reading rainbow, so it was just a natural thing for me to go from fiction, science fiction to comic books. It was just that's what it was. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's where my love come from. You know?
Nice. Yeah. The movies, yeah, I remember because I'm like from just because I come from a time when there weren't like I think the first comic book movie I saw was Superman, like the original, like Christopher Reeves. That was the first one I can think of off the top of my head.
And I mean, of course, I watched the series like Wonder Woman. I watched
Oh
Incredible
yeah,
Hulk. Remember Incredible Hulk?
yes,
Was it $6 million Man? That
yeah,
was,
$6 Million Man,
I
the
feel like
Bionic
that
Woman.
was a comic book too. But
Years later, it was,
right,
but it started out as just being that series,
yeah,
you
and
know.
A-Team and all, and from GI Joe, all these
Hmm.
different cartoons that were comic books. You know, in essence, that's kind of where, you know, it just was like, I feel like our era is the best because we had the comic books, we had the cartoons, we had the movies. Uh, Teenage
Hmm.
Mutant Ninja Turtles was probably the one that really just
Yeah.
seared into me just this real, like, I couldn't believe they were coming out with a movie when that came out. Boy, that was just like the
Well, because
best.
it was one of those things like, how are they going to make this a movie? And you were so curious. I remember at the time when it came out, I lived in Florida and I wanted to see it like that opening night.
Right.
And I didn't get to because I, it was just a kerfuffle of things that happened. I'm not even sure, but I didn't get to. I remember seeing it years later and going, oh, wow, it was just something so different, because at a certain point you're going, how can the technology do this? What have you? And it was just them in suits,
Yeah, that was the
you
part
know,
I was just like, oh,
but it looked so good. And to come from that anime series, I remember the anime series, but that initial run, which was it was 5 episodes, I want to say, that they showed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That initial run was so crazy.
it was, bro.
I
And then
remember watching it was so different.
it was so different. And then now even finding out that it was a comic book,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember at the time, I I didn't know it was at all. It was just
Yep.
all I just remember was coming home from school, Teenage Mutant. And I was like, what's
Yep.
this?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, that's how. Yeah, it was that. I didn't know GI Joe was a comic
Me neither.
when I was watching it as a kid. I didn't know. I knew about comics, but I didn't have access to those comics. That would have been a comic that would have been kind of, because I want to say at that point it was part of Marvel,
I
I
feel like it
think,
was, yeah, GI Joe.
but
Yeah,
it was like on that. It wasn't a superhero comic, so you didn't know as much about it. But the cartoon was crazy. Like it was, and to have so many iterations of it
bro, that cartoon.
was incredible. So yeah, it's so funny to see something. Superman you knew was a comic, but everything else you didn't know.
Exactly.
Now when you get older and you look and you go, oh, that was a comic. Now I'm reading the comic, and I'll catch up on the series at some point, but the comic is what will hit me more.
Comics hit me more because they were more, it felt like the imagery is kind of the aspect of it to where it's like the words and the imagery, but the way
Mhm.
the art would give you more of a story and more in-depth type story.
Mhm.
Maybe the animation did, at times that I found.
Yeah, because you can, yeah, you can definitely tell more of a story, and you know that it's for a different crowd. Where
Yeah,
the animated series is going to be for that younger, more kid crowd, the ones that are buying the toys.
yeah,
Realizing that, where with the comic now, because since they've just come out with the new GI Joe and the Energon universe, you still get the feel of the original comics because they're still done by Larry Hama.
so you put me on right now. I didn't even realize.
I mean, yeah, they came with a whole new universe.
Nice.
It's a part of Skybound, and it's called the Energon universe.
Okay.
They talked about it for a while, but I didn't know what they were going to do, and they came up with a comic first called Void Rivals, which had nothing to do with GI Joe or Transformers. And then you find out that in the first 2 pages, there's a spoiler for the entire thing, and you wait and you go, "Oh, this is what they were talking about," and it blew my mind. So I started to follow it, and I'm behind a few issues because I can't read everything, but it's been so good. There's been Void Rivals, Transformers, GI Joe, Duke has a miniseries, and Cobra Commander has a miniseries.
So you just cleared something up for me because I just watched Beast Wars, like, I don't know, like a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, wait a minute. Now
That's
I understand. Now I
Yeah,
understand.
because that came out before the comics were started,
Mhm.
but well, before the comics came out, I can't say when they were started, but that was like a thing. I haven't seen it, but but I heard what it was at the end.
Yeah, it was one of those after the credit type
Yeah,
scenes that came up. Yeah.
because I don't know what timeline is what, so I want to try and watch the movies in a certain way.
Right, right.
Like, not that it really matters because it's all over the place, anyway, but yeah, but that's something like cool. So to have that and to go, oh, it was, and then for it to make a resurgence from
Yeah.
the original writer and it's there is awesome.
Yeah.
How did you decide to create comic, and how did you do it? Like, what was your like what made you go with the elements of hip hop?
Well, actually, it was my partner Pierre who he me and him used to work together, and
Mhm.
it was a thing to where I'm, just the same way I feel about the comics and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all the superhero aspect. That's how I feel about hip hop in general. And
Yes.
when I say hip hop, I'm not just speaking on just the MC aspect of it. I'm talking about from breakdancing to graffiti, even poetry. I know they don't put that in the same thing, but poetry, beatboxing. Like I just remember same memories as a kid, just the Fat Boys,
Oh,
oh, just the
yeah.
beatboxing was really just being at school, everybody just starting to beat. It was just like culturally, it was so ingrained to what we were doing coming up, outside of just, and so the idea of that came with me and Pierre. It was about 2003.
Mhm.
And it was a thing to where, like, physically, me and him are not artists, right?
Mhm.
So it was a thing to where having this idea, having the idea, but also looking at the landscape and thinking like all our characters, well, most of our characters are black,
Mhm.
and at the time, like 2003, I mean, we had like video games like Def Jam Vendetta and stuff like that, but as far as like, and you have your Black Panther, you have your Black Green Lantern, you have different Vixen from DC, you have different characters that, but it wasn't like how it is now, to be fair.
Exactly. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just I feel like Black Panther kind of opened up the floodgates just on the epic level, the epicness of what it could be.
Hmm.
Um, so it was a thing to where seeing these different skill sets within hip hop and looking at them, even the same energy that I just said, it's like I saw them as superheroes, right? For a b-boy to do what they're able to do, the skill set, the death defying moves, that takes a lot of work and not everybody can do it. So it's similar to like the superhero aspect of it, because it was just it it was there. It was there. And then graffiti artists, just the chances they be taking with their lives. You know what
For
I'm
real.
saying? I'm talking about
Hmm.
in the beginning, even now sometimes, you be like, how is there graffiti right there? You be driving by somewhere, you be like, how is that there?
In the
Somebody would.
most awkward space possible. But that was the point of it. That was kind of the thing of it. And putting it in a spot where nobody else was trying to go and put it, that's there. You're making me think of my childhood so much. Honestly, when you said Fat Boys and
Because
just bringing it
that
back.
when they came out, that was just like everybody was out there beatboxing, you know.
Exactly, yeah. And it was the own yeah, bringing up everything at beatboxing, which was this thing that you could just be sitting there doing. You didn't need anything to do it. You just needed you. And you saying, the break dancing and the graffiti, and it makes me think of how like and even poetry, like you were saying, the poetry and spoken word, it all comes from the hip hop, which is and so like a family tree,
Yeah.
and there are different branches of the family, and it's beautiful because you can incorporate, like if you hearing somebody like a freestyle in a way, it is them doing poetry. It might be a little aggressive with
Yeah.
the motions and such, or what have you, but it's still a form of poetry. You know what I mean? It might not be like, what people would think of as poetry, but it still is there. It still has elements of it, which is beautiful. How it's just, yeah, man, just making me think about everything. Because I know that there was a documentary that just popped up, I think, about hip hop, but either on Hulu or Max, and I've been like, I keep scrolling by, and I'm like, oh, I want to check that out. You're making me want to check that out so much now.
There's so
I'll
many
be honest with
documentaries out now. There's
you.
a
Yeah.
few on Netflix. I know there's one on Paramount that just dropped not too long ago.
Oh,
It
is theirs? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check that out.
I'm trying to remember. I saw.
Maybe that's what I saw because I know it was one that was recent. So maybe that was what I saw. I've been going through every streaming service this week, so yeah, I could be.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with
Paramount have the advertisement I saw was with Killer Mike speaking on, because they were speaking on how the lyrics in hip hop are now being used in criminal cases, and it was touching
you.
on that aspect of it.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that the snippet that I saw, but I haven't had an opportunity to actually go search it out yet. But I know it's on Paramount though for sure.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna check that out. Yeah, I just want to go through it and everything and check them out. Also because it's what it was the 50th anniversary of hip hop
Last
last
year
year.
was 50th, right? And
Yeah.
it was a big fanfare of it, and that partly why we ultimately launched, I would say officially. I know we did a soft launch before the pandemic.
Hmm.
Had a lot of good feedback on just the overall concept and idea. Just real quick, we have the characters. We have a b-boy, Mike Check. We have the graffiti artist named Tag. We have the DJ Riot, and then we have the MC. Let me say what. And then the break dancer is Break, and um, and then we touch on other aspects of the culture. So we have a character that represents the violence in hip hop called
Okay.
Giant Pie. We have a character that represents the materialistic aspect of hip hop called Mr. Bling. We have a character that represents the over sexualization of hip hop, Video Vixen and the Thought Bots. Excuse me. And then we have a character that represents the exploitation, which is CEO. Chase Edwin Oppenheimer is his name, but it's CEO. So it's like we're breaking down all the elements, from the cultural elements to all the elements that are kind of have evolved out of it, to where, it's an ebb and flow. Like
Hmm.
a certain thing about being real and coming from the streets and representing and being the voice of that. And then it's gotten to a point now to where there's a holistic aspect of it, to where it's more of a product now versus that authentic storytelling, telling you what's real. Some of it's not as real, some of it's character, just acting, and people are not actually that type of thing. So we kind of want to have this ebb and flow within the storyline of, in the end of the day. So the power in our universe is called frequency. So there's choices that can be made, right? Everything,
Hmm.
everything is about vibrations and in the thoughts that you choose, and your choice kind of dictates your future. And that's kind of like the parallels we want to address within the storyline with, the choices you make dictate your future. Also, there's one other character we have that represents kind of like the spiritual aspect of it, kind of like the Obi-Wan of the
Yes.
series, and his name is Ghost Rider. And that's him right in the background, next to Mike Check to the left, I guess. The imagery that you're showing.
Yes.
He's kind of like,
With the
I don't know.
hood.
Yeah, if you ever seen this movie called Multiplicity with Nicolas Cage, is it Multiplicity? It's this movie with Nicolas Cage where he could literally like go into all the different directions to see what happens and then come back. So
Uh, I know what movie
I don't
you're
know if
talking
that's
about.
Multiplicity. That might be something else.
No,
But
that's yeah, that's a different movie. But
yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
so that's kind of like, Ghost Rider's power is he's more of an advisor, but he could see all paths you can take.
Hmm.
Tag, so his graffiti can come to life and fight alongside you, beside him, like, and then you have Mike Check, who's kind of like a magician, and the words that he speaks can come into reality, or he can speak things into existence. It really leaves open for imagination on what, their power capabilities, how far it could go.
Right.
Break, of course, he can his. It's like a style called breakata. So it's,
I know
knowing,
damn well.
as far
Right.
as the history
All
of
right.
dancing comes from
Mm-hmm.
capoeira, and that being a fighting style that was hidden in dance to hide it from, so they could actually practice and hide it from the people that they were enslaved with. but it was actually, so it's kind of like trying to tie that history into this character and then bring it in and rebrand it into something new, calling it Breakata. So that's the idea behind that. And then DJ Riot, he can spin vinyls at supersonic. Well, he can create vinyl out of thin air and throw them at supersonic speeds. He also can manipulate the size of the vinyl records and fly on the vinyl records if need be. And he can speed up the tempo and slow up the tempo. So he can speed time and slow down time. Or some of the powers that we've come up with. But we left it open because there's still development in that.
I'm still tripping all over thought bots. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Because you were giving me a lot, and I'm like,
I know I was trying to get it in because
no, I'm not mad at that. I'm always happy to be at a buffet. I'm not mad at that at all. Seriously, like I'm loving.
I didn't even get into the villains yet.
No, you didn't, and I'm scared. Like first off, the artwork looks incredible. I absolutely love the style of it. The vibrancy of the colors. Not trying to be funny and play on that, but the vibrancy of the colors is beautiful. I'm a person who loves purple and blue, so the colors are hitting me in a certain way. I'm absolutely loving it. I love the fact that you're taking different aspects of the culture of hip hop and infusing it into these characters. And like you're saying, how the powers can kind of change and flow, which is similar to, again, hip hop. If someone's doing a freestyle or a battle rap, what have you, and some of it might be on top of your head and something you might change during the course of while you're saying it to fit a situation. I love that the thought has been put into that. And DJ Riot is just, I'm always a fool for a mask and maybe some earbuds or headphones and a hood. So you're hitting me with all these images and the character designs. This is definitely
And then it's like, imagine, and I haven't even got to that creative aspect of it. So imagine when their powers can combine, like Captain Planet, you know what I'm saying? The DJ and the breakdancer, and then we have characters that aren't fully developed yet, like Beatbox is one. And like I said, I didn't get to the villains yet, but just to touch on a couple of villains, like Mr. King, for instance, you think of him as an alchemist, so he can create different jewels. He can create by touch, like the Midas touch. He can create and all the different precious metals and jewels he can manipulate with his own like a mental mind control situation. So if you're wearing them, he can kind of control you. He also can create projectiles with those diamonds. For instance, he can create diamond shards and shoot them at you. And then if you think about just an alchemist, right? Just leaves that to imagination. Video Vixen, her power is more of a Aphrodite Medusa type energy, to where she uses her sexuality to control, but she's also a genius in robotics. So she created the Thoughtbots as extensions of herself. So if you think about Terminator 2, or was it Terminator 2 where they had the liquid? Yeah. Yep. So if you think about T-1000. If you think about that type of the T2, that Terminator, think of the Thoughtbots being things that can androids that can change their how they look. They can be the metallic form, of course, but then they can do everything that a T2 could do, but also change and be extensions of Video Vixen, make multiples of her or different women, that look like her, and she can control them. Drive-By, he's the essence of rage and aggression. So he has different weapons tattooed on his body that he can pull off and use, similar to that character in Daredevil. I forget what his name was, but he can pull the weapons off and have unlimited ammo and use them. Okay. There's this character in Daredevil, the first iteration with Ben Affleck, where there was this one character tattoos come up.
Bullseye.
I feel like that's his name. But so that was kind of the inspiration for Drive-By. He also is similar to, I would say, Donatello, in the sense where he's a mechanic and he has different cars and different whips that do things that can have weapons on them as well. And then you have CEO, which is kind of like the mastermind, and he's like uh, his whole thing is to harness the frequency energy so that he can manipulate the mass. He can control the masses uh, through the radio waves frequency level. So he's more of the character from Inspector Gadget that we never saw his face.
The Dr. Claw, yes.
Oh, that's what his name was. So he's kind of inspiration off of that. A lot of his abilities are more just his intellect and tech, and just tech that he can. AI being one of his tools of, and his whole thing is to be like be like the Riddler in that one Batman movie where he's trying to control the television frequency and all the people was watching.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he was able to control.
Yep.
So, it's hip hop infused so much, but then it's also inspiration from just the overall superhero culture that we grew up in, which is, comic book superhero, villain, protagonist, antagonist, all these different iterations and different ways of how we've seen similar characters trying to use a little bit of it, but be unique in the application with these characters.
Yeah, man. You like the villains are aspects of like it. It's almost like you definitely have taken both. I mean, well, depending on how you see it, I guess you can all these different aspects of hip hop, positive and negative,
right,
and have infused them in them. And that's what I love, the fact that it's not just the heroes that you've done this to, but also the villains, giving them different aspects of hip hop. Again, positive and negative, and things that we've seen, maybe not being in the industry, but seen from some of our favorite artists or artists that we used to like, or what have you. Again, I love the fact that even on these character screens, you have their quotes on there. I think that's very important because it gives you a little insight into the character's mindset, what they're about, what have you, which I really do enjoy. I like that. I like seeing, their bio is great, seeing, where they're from, their real name, where, their team affiliation. You even have hobbies on here. I saw the one that I don't know why, while you were speaking, I almost started laughing. It said hobby, said poker, blackjack, and craps. I said, my man is just out here just losing money. He's out here or maybe winning it because he's
that's the part with Mr. Bling. He could just
exactly. But it would be funnier if he lost money all the time, even though he's an alchemist, because he's that pure a gambler that he doesn't want to cheat. Like, but little things like that just make me feel more about the characters, even the villains, which you have to have important villains to have heroes. You know what I mean? It's almost like the villain has to be greater than the villain has to be greater than the hero sometimes, because you want to see the hero overtake that much of an evil character.
I mean, think about G.I. Joe. They literally had the anti-hero, and every character just about had their equal on the other side.
Yep. So I love that duality, that balance. Again, the character designs are incredible. I absolutely love it. This is, y'all have done some incredibly dope work here. Seriously. This is, and you know what else this feels like? This feels like something that I would have seen on Saturday morning cartoons.
That was you just pulled that up because you know that how important that was to our era. Like, it was just like, it was like an event, X-Men, I mean, that was the first one, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, and that's the essence of, even within the storyline, we want there to be lessons learned, because our cartoon was about, you learn lessons in it, right? We wanted to make sure that each character could literally stand on its own if there was none of the other characters. We wanted each character to be able to be like, the character development has been years. So like I said, we start before we found the artist to where we could get the imagery right. We were working on the idea. So there's a lot of thought that we was thinking on these levels. We wanted to make sure that our characters were what hip hop looks like, which is, Black. We have some white people here. We have people that of Asians descent, because countries in Asia are holding us down as far as the cultural aspect of it
Mm-hmm.
currently, you know what I'm saying, internationally. So it's like not to, but we wanted to make sure that was the representation was as authentic to what it really is and be like that.
It definitely is. Yeah, like I said, like this feels like a Saturday morning cartoon. Like this would have I would have been as I was big on I was big on Saturday morning cartoons. I was so big on it that I would watch the that Friday before each new season when they'd have that preview episode on Friday nights. I would watch that to see what was coming out. I have no shame in my game. I'm gonna be real, y'all. That was me because I was like, oh,
Right.
because there were some cartoons that were new, and this is something that I would expect to see and I would enjoy it because it would be that one animated series that was maybe a little more mature,
You're right.
but was still hitting you with you're still getting fun, you're still getting great animation, you're getting that lesson, and you're getting a depth of story.
And I keep bringing up X-Men because that was not all that wasn't they was talking about issues that were
Yeah,
not necessarily for kids in that.
it's always been a quote unquote political comic because of I mean the story itself is about this group of people who are different from the rest of humanity and how even though they're different they're still fighting for humanity even though
Fighting
humanity is
against
saying like
themselves,
yeah,
fighting against people that are them. You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
It
so it
was
was
about
still
that moral connection.
yeah. So yeah, this is incredible. I this is yeah. So folks, as always, I'm gonna have the link for the website in the episode description. As I want you to go and check this out. You've seen what's going on here. You've seen the character designs. Like I said, the bios. This is yeah. This is what I would love to see. Like if I was at a comic show, like a con or an event, and I saw your table, booth, what have you, I would immediately go over to it and I would ask you, okay, so what's this about? And I would, yeah, this is a no brainer for me. This
Thank
is yeah, this is a no brainer. This looks like fun. It's the again the elements of hip hop, characters who are linked through hip hop, but each representing a different aspect of it, and the villains also are representing different aspects of hip hop as well that we may not like as much. So that again the duality, the art, the character designs, yes, it's a
you.
definite. So I'll have the link for this in the episode description as always, because I want you to go and check out what's here, because this looks too good. I'll be honest with you,
He's
like
like,
for
this is
real.
not even possible that this exists right
Yeah,
now.
for real. Like I'm like, this is not real. Like if I go on a site, I know like Rick Roll is just gonna pop up and be like, just Rick Roll on me for no apparent reason. I would be so mad if Rick
Y'all
Roll.
ain't create this, man. What you talking about? Y'all ain't do this.
I'd be like, why'd I get rickrolled again? This is horrible. The third time in the same week, man. I'm mad now.
This all good.
So,
Appreciate y'all.
I mean, I love talking about the comics, and this is so awesome. But I also love when I'm speaking to creatives and everything, especially nowadays. Um, Creatives are some of the most anxiety-ridden people possible because they might not. Somebody could be perfect, and they're like, I don't like that line, or I don't like this word, or what have you. And then you throw into that everyday things that happen. Sometimes your mental can be just very, very stressed or what have you. So I always like to know what people are doing for self-care. What do you do for self-care? What keeps you grounded?
Okay, so my morning routine, one of them is exercise.
Okay.
Like, because I feel like a lot of times when those thoughts are doing that, if I, having something that brings me to the present,
Mhm.
keeps me in the present versus in too far in the future, something that needs to get done, or in the past, or I didn't get it done, or I have to do something, would be my exercise aspect of it. The next thing I know this probably is water, like drinking some water, man. Like I, but it's the discipline of it, right? So I have an amount I be trying to drink daily, and then it's like if I'm just having a day and I just sit and just like, and I'm talking about when I drink it, I'm not talking about look, I'm talking about I'm sipping it.
The actual process of it. Yeah.
Yeah, just like a process of it. Another thing I do is read. I read a lot. I think it, so. I'm reading. So I got I got this book I'm reading. I got this book I'm reading.
Okay.
I got this book I'm reading. I also have a book at my door. To every time I walk out the door, or every time I come back in the door, I read one page, and that one's called Divine Encounters. Right now, but that
Mhm.
the discipline is I'll just read one page because when I get home, I want to be able to um, separate outside from inside.
Yes. Yes.
Like have a because I feel like for creatives and just as just people in general, having a boundary, like understanding your clear boundaries, so that when you're
Yes.
dealing with people, you know what's you and you know what's them, or you know what's outside of you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, emotionally, like I know what's going on within me, and then you can see and you're aware of that, and you can discern where certain energies are coming from in regards to people, behavioral things that people might have. And then at that point, you can be like, okay, I know what type of boundaries I need to set in whatever situation it may be. But the discipline for me is those things. And then just walking in nature. Um, walking in nature is another thing. Talking to my daughter, that's another thing for me that helps me a lot
Yeah.
because when you instill so much into a being and then to see them just come back and give you advice.
Mhm.
My daughter is 20. She's a junior in college right now, and she's studying psychology. So she actually has some tangible. She has some things that to be said to this topic that you're speaking on. So that's why I bring her up in this moment because
Mhm.
she adds to the clarity. And then it's like, yo, when you have this imposter syndrome where you be thinking like, yo, I ain't did nothing in my life. Who am I?
Bro.
A child like that for me, it helps me remain grounded and be like, yo, if I don't do anything else, I help that individual be in this world, which is gonna when I'm gone, I did that. I know I did that.
Mhm.
So it helps me just outside of these creative things because like you said, there's so much content out there, so many people doing so many things that you kind of be like, yo, you can get lost in the sauce, really, in regards to even if your idea is the greatest idea, you just got to keep going. And, take sleep is the other one. That's the last, and that's the
Look.
hardest one, right?
Look.
You want to keep going.
I-
So,
Those are really great ones. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had this thing once where I said I don't even have imposter syndrome. I have imposter pandemic. Like I'm just it's because there are days when it hits you. Sometimes it comes for me. It comes from some insecurities and it comes from anxiety. Well, for me, my anxiety and my insecurities are kind of tied together.
okay.
So I'll have these days when I'm like, just you're not doing it. You're not.
I'm not.
You're
I,
you're not doing it. This ain't what do you did. This ain't it. What is that? No, that ain't it.
that's
That's not
failure.
it.
Right? That's all I see over there is failure.
What is that? Not even failure. Like I'm just like, what is that? That ain't it. I don't even want to use the word failure because I'm like, I'm not even giving you that much credit. Like
Okay.
that ain't even what is that? And
That
it
ain't,
messes
that
with
ain't
me.
even the F in failure. But
I
yeah.
mean, for real, that's like I ain't even gonna give you the word failure. Like I'm gonna just ask you what is it until you got to answer.
Because
I'm not. I'm not gonna give you an answer. You gonna give me an answer on what that is.
yeah.
And there are days like that, and it hits me, and I'm like, oh, and I have to kind of regroup and circle around. I'll talk my way out of it and say, well, this is this and this, so we can't necessarily feel that way. It's natural at times to sometimes be down on yourself. That happens. We're human, but I have to talk myself out of it. So I understand that imposter sometimes is there. Water is very key. I had someone who I interviewed this week who said one of their things was hiking, but they especially liked hiking near water
Mm. Yeah.
because of the sound of the water.
Yeah.
It helped to flow. Water it's the most powerful force on the planet. It can nourish us, it can clean us, it can provide, but it can also create so much. And it's also so powerful that it can create something like the Grand Canyon. It takes time,
It's
but
true.
it's patient
Right.
and it'll always be there. I mean, one of our greatest icons said it best: "Be like water."
Be like water, like Bruce Lee. And I would be
Exactly.
remiss to also not include 90s hip hop and jazz music in my statement. I don't know what.
Bro.
Let me just throw that out there.
Bro.
Jazz and 90s hip hop, or just 90s hip hop, funk, blues, anything vintage. It just has this substance that,
Hmm.
when I don't listen to music for a while and I come back to it, it's almost like and I've been doing that a lot lately because of all the reading that I'm doing.
Yeah.
It'll be times where and I do audiobooks as well. So, I'll be driving and I'll just be not listening to music for a while. And then my daughter, she sent me this this trumpet player, Bird, his last name is.
Charlie Bird.
No, dang, what was his name? I do want to. Where's my Spotify at?
But this was from way back, right?
He's from Bird. This trumpet player. He's more like, I feel like, the '70s, because his music been sampled in hip hop, and I didn't realize that his music was sampled in hip hop. But my daughter, I'm just like, see, this is not good for my daughter to
Hmm.
put me on to some music I'd already know. I
But
already
that's
knew.
beautiful because when you sitting there and you're like, oh, that's where it comes from, and then I mean, to listen to not just what it was sampled from, but well, not just listen to the song, but then to listen to the original, it helps to enrich it even more. Like you appreciate it even more. I find, which I love,
That
and
is
and you'll be surprised. Like, wait, what
Donald
is?
Donald Byrd is the trumpet
Oh,
player.
Donald Byrd. Oh, okay, yes, okay.
So yeah,
I'm been into
there,
that too. Yes.
yeah. So you know about Donald Byrd. See, like my daughter had to
Well,
put
no,
me
no, no,
on.
no. Just like the vintage retro stuff, like the '70s and the jazz and everything is there. There is a a soul to it
That's what I'm
that
talking
when you hear it, like one of my songs I'll continuously go back to is uh Moody's Mood for Love,
about. Mm,
and it hits every time I listen to it. I'm like, it's just it feels like it just flows so well, the two singers together, like it was just a different time, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
it just it feels right there. There's a soul to it there.
mm, exactly.
Mm. See, now I gotta go and listen to some stuff tonight before I go to bed. I gotta
Already,
listen to some stuff,
already.
which I'm not mad at all. I'll light an incense, I'll put something on, and that's cool. Those are great things as far as self-care and helping to keep you grounded. And thank you for sharing them. I always love for people to share what they're doing for self-care and maybe inspire someone else to do something that they might not be taking that time, even if it's 5 minutes, just taking that time to get yourself right. Because if you're not right, anything you do is not going to come out as well as you want it to be.
No, I appreciate you including that in this. Because I feel like our generation, Generation X,
Hmm.
the first generation, was the generation that got us to where we're at talking about these type of things. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I mean, it
saying?
definitely happened. Like, especially as black men, we were not. I remember first time I had a panic attack, I didn't know what it was.
Mm,
And my ex was like, "Oh no, it's a you're having a panic attack." And my words were, "Oh no, I'm black. That's some white mess. I can't like we don't have that."
you
You know
say
what I mean? Because I never heard
the
about
first
that,
one, right?
and we never talk about it. Walk it off,
Suck it up,
suck it up. What you
be a
crying
man.
for?
Yeah, be a man.
Stuff
Yeah,
like that,
right.
and you end up just becoming that hard rock shell person that never takes that care of yourself. So I'm very appreciative of black women for being the ones to really talk about therapy and self-care and everything. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. I was mostly raised by black women,
Me too.
so if a black woman is talking about something, I'm definitely listening because I want to know from their perspective what's going on, and then I want to see, okay, and I want to talk about it. So I thank them for putting us onto that, and then for us being brave enough to say, yes, I'm in therapy, yes, I'm taking medication for this, but just being honest about it and saying,
Yeah.
this is what happens. This is it.
Not being fearful, just being vulnerable in that sense.
Exactly. Having stronger circles of friends and family too to be able to say, man, I'm not doing so good right now. Can I talk to you about something? I'm like, yeah, man, what's going on? And talking to them. And if they can't help them or what have you, maybe they just need that ear. Or if they can't help them, what have you, be like, hey, man, I'm I'm gonna be real with you. I've been going to therapy for the last month, and it's really helped me out. Maybe it's something that you can try, or what have you. You know what I mean? Just having that door open and that transparency and like you said, vulnerability to be able to. It doesn't make you less of anything, what have you. It
Right.
doesn't. It if anything, it makes you stronger because you're saying I need help. There's nothing stronger than the term I need help. I'm going to be honest with you. You might think that makes you weak. It doesn't. It's you recognizing yourself,
Yeah.
your strengths, your limits. It just, yeah. So it's definitely important to me to speak about these things and for people to know that it's okay to say I'm not okay, but to then strive to be okay.
Right.
Definitely. Um, Speaking of self-care and what what we do, what helps us, comics, obviously.
For real.
What are three comics that you really enjoy? Comics or graphic novels that you really enjoy that are favorites of yours?
Okay, so I'm about to. I don't know how many people was on this, but I'm about to show you my first three comics that I ever read. Now this, you said different ones, but so this is. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Legacy. This is my first comic. Is about Toussaint Louverture. It's the birth of Haiti. Was my first comic.
Wow.
This is
Okay.
my mom right here. This is representing. That's her soul. This is her.
So
That's
you
my
went
first.
with real life heroes. Okay.
Yeah, this
All
is my
right.
first one. Harriet Tubman was my second one,
Oh, okay.
and then Crispus Attucks was my third one, and then The Life of Benjamin Banner was my fourth one. So that was my first, I guess you could say, introduction to comics. Was those? And
Oh, wow.
I feel like
Okay.
that was 1984 or 83. Um,
Mm.
so I was that was what I was on. The one I'm kind of really enjoying now is this Philadelphia by Rodney Barnes. I'm really enjoying this. I love I love black people, and I love us in all forms. We don't have to be all heroes. We can be some villains up in here.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's what I like that. And then going with this. This is one I've been on to. This Icon and Rocket, the Milestone
Yes.
Initiative reintroduction ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I started writing, I really wanted to do my research and know, who were the black creators that really made noise, and so I had to go and find them. So, those are the ones. It's a lot of blackness going over here. It's a lot of black characters. Uh,
Look.
I was centered in blackness as a young kid, so I was always that kid in class where I was just like, actually, that's not actually. Did you not notice?
Mm-hmm.
That was that kid.
We, but we needed that kid. We needed that
It
kid.
wasn't always. It was. Now I'm like, oh, I
You know what
felt
I mean?
glad I was that kid, but back then it was rough. But
Mm.
I had to.
Those are great choices. And those comics, the line of comics that you brought up first, do look familiar. They
Well,
definitely look familiar.
I know 9 million of these went out, so that's why I say I know I'm not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
At the house.
Philadelphia is, yeah, one of the best. It's funny. It took me 3 reads of the first issue to get into it. For some reason, it wasn't hitting me. Then I read it and I was like, wait, hold on, and it hit me. And I've been a fan ever since. Read every issue, and this is it. It has become one of Image's biggest franchises now. It's been that, and this is how much they trust it and how much they love that series. Are you all caught up with it?
I am not all caught up with
Okay,
it
that I'm not gonna say anything.
because of the what you're saying. I can't even grab. Every time I try to, I need. It's almost like I need to just. I don't know if there's a website to where I can just get it shipped to me when it's available because
Yeah,
it's sold
you can
out.
just have them if you have a comic shop near you or one that you want to go, what have you. You can just have a pull list, and every time there's a new issue,
Hmm.
they'll pull it. They'll literally pull it aside for you and hold it for you, and whatever you have together, and they'll pay and they'll send it to you.
Okay.
Or if you have a comic shop near you, they'll have a pull list. You go in, you tell them, oh, I want this, this, this.
Okay.
They'll pull them when they come in. It's I get it digitally because that's easier for me.
Okay.
I do still have a lot of like print comics, but it's one that when you get to the end, you'll see how much they trust this series by what they did and who they put in there.
Okay.
Franchise players. Um, Yeah, those are your choices are great, and I love the comics that people bring. Now, obviously, folks, we got to talk about this. This is always the thing. We're gonna hit this one real quick. Restaurants, food. We got to talk about it. We have to. It's a must. We have to nourish our minds and our bodies. Come on.
Literally, we need it for life, you
I'm
guys.
saying, and plus, food tastes good.
Exactly.
So the first one you got up for us is Soul Vegan,
So vegan.
and
So
I love excuse me, Soul Vegetarian. Excuse me. Which I love the sound of it. I do eat vegetarian and vegan food. Sometimes I still do eat meat, but I do love trying out new things. What was it about this restaurant that got you?
so I was raised vegan
Okay.
and now I do eat chicken and fish from time
Hmm.
to time. So but it's soul food that's vegetarian. Like so you can just so you go in there and you can get like some of the best soul food that you thought was meat that ain't meat, you know.
Hmm.
And it's like it's almost like you can cheat, but not cheat in that sense, because even the calories and all that is just on a level of where it's, it's healthy for you, you know. So um, go in there and get some collard greens, some yams, or like the veggie burgers are, oh my gosh, you're making me hungry.
That looks delicious. I'm gonna be real. Damn.
Man, you're making me hungry looking at this.
See, this is the problem. See, this is the problem right here.
Man, look at that.
I'll eat the child's plate too. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean
You
that
know, I have
child's
no
play is
shame.
economically the best play, as you can see as the prices roll. But
And it looks delicious. It looks just incredible.
yeah, man, and then you have even the beverages there have different flavors type beverages that you can choose from are unique to that. Ginseng
Hmm.
infused, and
Oh
it's just
wow.
it's ginger root. Yeah, man, you about to make me go downtown. Okay, they don't have one in my area. It's a little bit further, which is why I brought the other option to you. But me personally, I would get the yams,
Oh,
collard greens.
most definitely.
But the soul food. But
Now, speaking of the other restaurant that you brought up, the other one that you, excuse me, brought up was Taco Tea.
don't y'all love that name? It's just simple, but you know what it is.
I'm not gonna go there and go, oh, so what they got to eat? You know what? Get out. You don't belong. No, get out. Get
That
out.
was like, what you got?
Exactly.
Tacos. Now, of course, they have other options, but I'm the taco guy, so I go and I get the
Okay.
chicken tacos with Mexican side. Mexican side meaning because it's two options. You have American side and Mexican side. American is more like you get the sour cream, cheese, stuff like that. The Mexican side, you get like the parsley, the onions, and then
Oh,
I
oh.
take the green sauce. I would tell you, if you ever have an opportunity, take the green sauce. That red sauce
Mhm.
is for indigenous Mexican people. And I
You
say that
don't.
just a
You
little.
don't want that. You don't want that problem.
I mean, unless you like that, like some people like spice, and
I
I do
mean,
too. But if you've ever had authentic Mexican, that spice
you ain't going to work the next day. I'm telling you right now, you ain't going to work the next day.
it'll change your life,
Cancel whatever plans you got. You ain't going nowhere.
man. And then I would get the mango fresca. Was it agua fresca? Fresca? I don't know how to say that name. But that's a good drink. You have the mango drink. That's what I call it because I can't say the name. Um,
Oh, the agua fresca.
fresca. There we go.
Yeah. Fresca.
But yeah, that I would get like 6 tacos, Mexican side, chicken with the mango, and that's like the thing when you have a long day and you're like, and you have that dinner option in your head. That's
Hmm.
Taco Teas because it's right down the street from the house. All I got to do is go get it, and then I'm at the house and I'm and I
That's
walk
it.
in. I'm like, I got that Taco Teas, and I wonder if the T stands for Tuesday. I don't know.
It probably does, but there's a restaurant I think that actually had the thing called Taco Tuesday that they. So I think a lot of places want to use it, but they couldn't use it because I think they own like the trademark for it or something.
And this spot is a mom and pops, but they open up another one. So it's
Oh
like a
wow.
slow growth, but it's like a word of mouth type situation. You see how I'm talking about this place? You
This is
see?
what I like. But I like mom and pop shop place. Like those are the places that have like, it just feels right. You know what I mean?
It is. And then that line will change your life. That line right there
It,
just looks.
this is ridiculous. So, all right. So, let me take this off the damn screen.
Man,
Let me
you're
just get
making
this
me.
off the screen.
What is it? 8:13. Okay, they don't close to 10. Oh, they
I'm
close at
saying.
9:30. I'm
Well,
like,
yeah, but I can't get a flight just right now to get down there to
you
fly
said
down to eat
there's
that.
no way it's coming FedEx, right?
I'm
Sorry,
saying.
sorry.
Stop, man. Stop.
Hopefully, hope they got some good Mexican in New Jersey.
They honestly do have some great places. So, but that food looked incredible.
Thank you.
Those are amazing choices, folks. I'll have the links for those as well in the episode description. So if you're in the area and you feel like going, you need some tacos or you need some great vegetarian soul food.
That's in
Those are
Georgia,
spots for you to
y'all.
go to.
GA, A-Town.
That's it. I mean, A for always hungry, A for appetite. Damn right.
Appetite.
So, folks, look, I want to thank Yalim Little for coming on and gracing our screen. The elements of hip hop is honestly like it is the heart of hip hop. It looks incredible. The characters are fleshed out. The story is very timely always, and it just feels right. And I think this will really hit younger, older, and in the middle readers because it has that feel and that look that it'll be able to please everyone. So I love that, and it looks incredible. It's amazing. I can't wait to read it now.
Thank you.
And I
We
love.
have digital copies. I heard you say that, so we do got that.
And I saw that on your website. Yes, I did. And I have an email and everything. And I got a nice tablet that I use for reading. So I mean, I don't want to say nothing, but yeah, that's gonna work out just right. All right,
just for that.
For real. Thank you for sharing everything with us, Yamil. It was an honor. Truthfully, I appreciate you being on here. I appreciate you taking your time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Folks, I want y'all to go hit the episode description. Links are going to be in there as always for the elements of hip hop. I want you to go check it out, look it up, and go follow on IG. I know y'all like social media, stuff like that. I personally do not, but what have you. For the I honestly don't. Elements of hip hop is there. Check it out. Check out the feeds. Amazing stuff. Thank you to Yalim Little, folks. I will see y'all next time with another guest. We'll be talking, and I promise you get back to doing some reviews and everything. Thank you. I saw the crown, and I was like, I saw that crown. I was like, oh, he really brought a crown on. Oh, so I definitely got to step up my game. Damn. Okay. And then he brought a great comic, and he talked about good food.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, and to everybody who's watching it, man, just know your worth. Know your worth. You're very valuable, and keep creating. Keep creating these stories. Come, let your imagination just be free. We're in this new era. This era is for us. I think we were the seeds of this era. So now it's kind of like just go out there and create your stories because you were put here for that purpose, I believe.
And that's right, folks. So as always, do the best you can with what you got because in the end, that's all that you get. And tell your story because nobody else is going to tell it for you. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all later. Peace.